Well, that was a race and a half, wasn't it? Anyway, Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. So after watching the first Grand Prix race of this season, season 2022, and the first race was in Bahrain, which is unusual, but it's Bahrain, and it was a very exciting race. Long story short, it started out with the Ferrari on pole position, Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, with Max Verstappen behind him in second place, and then the other Ferrari was third, Carlos Sainz, and fourth was the other Red Bull, and then behind them was Lewis, and then everybody else. Surprisingly enough, the only team that really did badly that was expected to do well but didn't do at all was McLaren. They started off at the back of the grid and they finished at the back of the grid. They didn't appear to have any pace at all. It was surprisingly bad for them. People who did well, Guan Yu Zhou, I think, the Chinese race driver, his first ever Grand Prix race, rookie of the season, scored a point, came in 10th. So, and as I watched his driving, and his driving was very good. He looked like he'd done it before, like very much like he knew what he was doing. His driving was clean, measured, and disciplined. And anyway, drama. Anyway, as the race went on, Leclerc started first and pretty much stayed there throughout the entire race, and he won the race. Spoiler alert. So Charles Leclerc won for Ferrari, and he got the fastest lap as well, so he got all the points. Second place was his teammate. After the drama of the race, one of the cars caught fire with about 12 laps to go, and it was the Red Bull sister team car of what's it called now? Insert name here. Anyway, his car caught fire. Basically, the car stopped, and as I was standing at the side of the track, the heat overwhelmed the back of the car, fire, and it caught fire. And so there was a safety car while the car was removed, and then when the race restarted, Max Verstappen in second place was complaining that there's something wrong with the car. And in fact, he was complaining before this all started that there was a problem with the steering, and it was like really heavy, or heavier than it should be. And then something else happened and they had to retire the car. So he went from second to not finishing the race, which put the second Ferrari into second place from third, and they just went on to finish first and second. Behind them was a favorite Mexican, and he was doing fairly well, but then he had a problem as well. His car suffered, I think, the same problem that Max Verstappen suffered, and he basically just had to stop, and so he didn't finish. That put Lewis into third place, and he was very happy with that, with his teammate George Russell finishing fourth. So first, second, third, fourth, Ferrari, Mercedes, and something tells me that unless Red Bull can fix their car for the next race onwards, this is how it's going to be for most of the season. Ferrari and Mercedes dueling it out for the top honors this season. Mercedes clearly admit that their car is not as good as it could be, because they were fighting very hard to stay with the Red Bulls, while the Ferrari, or certainly the Ferrari Charles Leclerc, was running out into the lead. So things looking good for Ferrari. Mercedes having the luck. Certainly Lewis is having his legendary luck, as I like to call it, legendary Lewis luck. So he basically finished on the podium when he wasn't expecting to finish on the podium. So that's good for him and his teammate. The other driver who did really well was Magnussen, who basically was not expecting to drive at all, but he changed hands. But he basically was the replacement driver for Haas team after their Russian driver was effectively relieved of his position. And he hadn't driven a Formula 1 car in a couple of years, I think 42 months, 47 months, I think his team manager said. And he qualified fairly well, and he finished fairly well. I think came in 6th, 5th. He was in the top 10 anyway, he did very well. His teammate, Mick Schumacher Jr., just lost out, I think he finished 11th. So just missed out on the points. But still, it was his best finish in Formula 1 ever. So, and if he'd fitted a new pair of tyres at the last, at the safety car, he may have done slightly better. I think that's the main reason why he didn't win. Sorry. I think that's the main reason why he didn't finish higher, was because he was on old tyres and everybody else around him was on fresh tyres. So that's that. Who else did well? Valtteri Bottas did better than expected as well, coming 5th behind his previous team. So yeah, he seemed to do a lot better this race, and I've seen him race in the previous year with Mercedes, so I guess his confidence is back up again. So yeah, first race of the season in Bahrain on the 20th of March. Is it March? Is it on today? Date here. And it was very exciting, I've got to say. The new regulations regarding aerodynamics seem to be working fairly well. The cars seem to be fairly close and were able to race without having to rely on the drag reduction system to keep them close together. And while the DRS did help, it wasn't pivotal in cars overtaking each other, which is a good sign for the future racing. In fact, there was a moment there, there's a period there of a few laps, 4 or 5 laps in the middle of the race, where Max and Charles were battling for the lead, and they overtook each other a good 3 or 4 times. And the only reason Max was unable to continue attacking him was because he burnt out, because I think he burnt out his tires during the race, so he was unable to keep up with him. And then of course his car failed, so that happened as well. So yeah, good racing all around, all across the front to back. There was lots of overtaking going on, and I think the most overtakes appear to be from the young Japanese driver, Tsunoda. He got the most overtakes in this first race. Or did he? I think he did. That's the last thing I saw. So anyway, and of course his teammate failed to finish because his car stopped. So and incidentally, what's the car called now? Can't remember these teams' names. But basically, the 3 cars that failed to finish all share the same engine. 2 of them were the Red Bulls, and the third one was the Red Bull sister team, Toro Rosso. It used to be called Toro Rosso. Is it still called Toro Rosso? I should know this thing. Anyway, so yeah, so that was the first race of the season. Charles first, Carlos second, and Lewis third. And the Lewis juggernaut, he was complaining that they're not going to do very well this season. The car's not up to par, and he still managed to finish third. So I reckon he's going to have a lot of podiums this season, and he's going to be battling for the championship by the end. I don't know if Max will be able to keep it up, but if he finishes the following races, then I think he can catch up. But he's way behind. He's what, minimum 15 points behind his main rival, and 26 points behind Charles Leclerc. So yeah, that's a thing. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the first Formula race of the season 2020. Next race is next week in Saudi Arabia, so across the border, or same region. And that's also the race where the season ended last year, and you'll remember what happened there. Anyway, thank you for watching, and take care everybody.